Morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Pastor Yemi Omogboyega. Thanks for visiting my channel. God bless you. I want to talk on the topic which says Donald Trump's actions will cause initial confusions but will reshape the world. Donald Trump's actions will surely reshape the world. God has a purpose for everything, and whatever is happening because God wants to bring something good out of it. Everybody is jittery now. Everybody is confused, and yet actions are going on. In fact, not only America will no longer remain the same within the next 4 years, but the world's politics, the world itself will experience a dramatic, fundamental change, such that by the time Trump is through in 4 years' time, the world would have taken a different shape entirely. I listened to the interview on Arise Television. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi gave his own account of what he knew about the debate that is going on now, the conversation that's going on a member of parliament's statement that linked the USAID to Boko Haram sponsorship. And which is being debated in Nigeria now. Indeed, it comes as a shock to every one of us, because we have always known the US for good. They have their flaws. We cannot sit down and be debating that. As far as I'm concerned, the US has not been wicked towards Nigeria. But it came as a shock that even in the area where we thought the US is helping us, especially in the matter of Boko Haram, and the way it turned out to be through this revelation. Remember that our Chief of Defense Staff had said something before about the activities of the NGOs that are supposedly helping us, many of them, that it is not all of them that are helping us, and that indeed many of them are worsening our cases, especially as regards the fighting of Boko Haram is concerned. So, Perrin's statement buttressed this. Professor Akinyemi's statement buttressed this, because However, he could not categorically say that it was the US that was involved, but that white men were involved, and then investigations were carried out here and there, have been still being carried out to really know who are the sponsors of Boko Haram terrorist group. And as it were, it's still a speculation. But Perrin's statement lent credence to the fact that unknowingly, I would say, America is involved. Forget about the position of Perrin, forget about the position of Donald Trump, forget about everything. There is, by way of, not by way of state policy to attack Nigeria or to make life difficult for Nigeria. But the truth is that there are what I can call saboteurs that is making what I will believe. Because I know America for one thing. If they are fighting you, they don't hide. Everybody will know that they are fighting you. May America never fight us directly. And they did not have issues with us such that they will begin to think of what they did to Libya to us. May it not get to that point. Countries may disagree, but America has not had a hand officially, I would say, in attacking us. I stand to be corrected. So I see that what is happening is a case of saboteurs. And let me just believe that that is the case. Because like I said, America is not afraid of any situation. Indeed, what Trump is doing now, every one of us will attest to it, that, America is not sentimental at all. If they are fighting you, they are fighting you. If they are with you, they are with you. The idea of playing pranks, I've never noticed it in the attitude of America. They are bold to fight. They are also loving to be friendly. That is my assessment of the America that I know from distance and from close circles. So what is playing out in this matter, I conclude within my heart, like I said, I stand to be corrected, that America is not officially involved in sponsoring Boko Haram. Some saboteurs are diverting the Americans' good intentions to bad outcome for us by ensuring that the objective of defeating Boko Haram was not achieved, or is not achieved even up till now. But we thank God that both internally here and externally now, we know better. And that is another victory it's a victory for Donald Trump administration. It's a victory for Nigeria, because at least we are moving further and advancing further through this information. And I commend the guts of the Chief of Defense Staff for speaking out at the risk of his own life for speaking out what he knew to be truth and is now being buttressed by what is happening. We are going to advance further. I also listened to the same TV Arise on the interview that he granted one gentleman. I think is it Hassan or Adamu or something? Can't remember now. That's a brilliant scholar who happened to be a military person. I think it's group captain, either Adamu or Hassan. And pardon me, I didn't remember that correctly. Some of you may have watched that interview that was staged between him and one other gentleman. I can't also remember his name now, but it was an interesting debate. This group captain was looking at the statement from Perrin, trying to link it to Nigeria as something that is not worth debating upon too much. That in the first place, as a researcher, for you to arrive at a conclusion, you must have gone through so deep into the history of what you are researching into, and that he had done an extensive work on this project, and that as far as he's concerned, Perrin's statement is not worth the pinch of salt that we are attaching to it. That it should be kind of that it's like, it's an incompetent person to speak authoritatively on this matter based on his pedigree, and therefore it should not be taken seriously. While the other gentleman was saying that, look, if the man has been known to be even somebody whose statement is not to be taken seriously, that it could not be by accident that what Perrin said is corroborating what the Chief of Defense Staff in Nigeria has said. There is a strong party that is, when we say party, I'm not talking of political party now. There is a strong force that is making Boko Haram to thrive up till today. And that this statement by Professor Akinyemi, as well as the statement by our Chief of Defense Staff, corroborates to a large extent of the major sources of worry, and corroborated the statement made by the Chief of Defense Staff. Forget about the denial of Canada, the visa to travel to Canada, and all that transpired. But there is a link between what that Perrin said and what our Chief of Defense Staff has earlier said, and that it only goes to the root of the matter. Because as it is now, we'll say that Canada is complicit. And we know Canada to be a country that is peaceful, that is caring, and to everybody. But how this one came about, we are yet to know. Because generally, apart from being a slap on the face of Nigeria and Nigerians, the fact that Canada denied that group the visa speaks a volume. But it is not for us to conclude that Canada is collaborating with the enemies of Nigeria, either enemies directly or enemies in disguise of Nigeria, in order to make sure that this country, Nigeria, does not survive. So let's leave that and move further. Now, America is deporting people now all over the place. The latest news is about 84 Nigerians are being deported, the first batch, to Nigeria, very in the immediate, and that there are over 100 plus that are also on the list. And these people were categorized as the people that violated immigration laws, and which is an offense, a very serious offense against any state or nation, because nobody will allow somebody who is not documented to come to his or her territory, not even to one's family. That is, somebody is coming and you don't know, and the person you don't even know before. Nobody will allow such people into their territory. So it's a grave offense for somebody to violate immigration laws of any nation. So Donald Trump is very correct in this area. And the second category of people that are coming are those who are already, they entered into the country legally, but they became a thorn in the flesh of the country, and such people who are serving their jail terms are to be repatriated to Nigeria. Again, that one too, you cannot go to a place, instead of being a blessing to them and to yourself, you begin to terrorize and put them in sleepless mode in their nights. So those people too, don't they deserve what they are getting? That is another aspect of it. Donald Trump has won again. Then, many will still happen. And thank God that this is not targeted at Nigeria alone, but it is targeted at the entire world. And Donald Trump is not in any way sentimental about it. Now, let's look at it from the perspective of the interest of America. I put that in quotes now, open and close. Interest of America in the next world order, because Donald Trump's action is going to reshape the world in such a way that we are going to have a new world order. And in the new world order, Donald Trump is focusing on the interest of America before any other interest. And today now, the action he has taken, or he is taking, by exposing the source of the sponsorship of possible or alleged or possible source of the people or any organization that is more likely to be involved in the sponsorship of Boko Haram is playing out. Because if indeed the USAID is frustrating our efforts here, which is indirectly implicating the US as if it's a state-sponsored arrangement to scuttle the development or to make sure that Nigeria is restless, so that America's interest, you see, interest again, is achieved. That is because when we cannot tackle Boko Haram and our mineral resources are being illegally migrated, exploited here, we know clearly that China, one way or the other, is involved, because they are the one mining most of the things that are being mined here, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria, and well, let me say allegedly mining. Now, if that is the case, we don't know whether America is benefiting from such. Because if America is involved and is profiting from such, we will now say that, oh, no wonder the attempt is for them to steal our resources, thereby protecting the American interest at the detriment of Nigeria's development. So, at least, if we're able to get to this source, and that source is verified, and then efforts made to stop that, then Nigeria will be on its own. So I don't agree that the American interest is so much involved there as to cause confusion here, so that our mineral resources, which is the target of all these people who are Nigeria's enemies, will be furthered. No, because it cannot be proved. And if America cannot be doing and undoing herself, that reminds me that, there are political party differences. Even within the Republican that Donald Trump is, he belongs to the right wing that believes that America interest first, and we could do everything, including suspending the aid, that's as they did to USAID now, to any country, so that America will not be directly or indirectly sponsoring evil. Or not only that America is not going to be, they don't believe in even these aids. That's what we are told from Group Captain, is it Adamu or Hassan now? Assertion that, that America will do everything to protect its interest. But Donald Trump is now saying that, okay, if this is the indirect way by which America can be linked to Boko Haram as it is in Nigeria now, then suspending that will put an end to it. That American interest is not to destabilize any nation, except the ones that they focused on. We know their history antecedent with the Irans, the Middle East countries that are having issues with them, but certainly not Nigeria. Having taken this decision, we will know that also buttresses his point that any country that is 50 years old and cannot fix its problems, its country, then let those countries take care of their problems. America is not interested, and we cannot continue to bear the brunt of their leadership failures. So America, you see that Donald Trump is right there also. But on the part of the left wing of the same Republican, they believe that a body like USAID could be so that they can be aiding the world. But, it is the Donald Trump's wing that is correct now, that is operating and that is in power. So everybody is operating, so the definition of the American interest varies from the various, within the party, one believes that USAID can be used to support and so on and so forth, but the other one does not believe. The one that does not believe is the one that is working. So that is consistent with the vision of America. Therefore, we should not just conclude that America is state funding or supporting Boko Haram directly here. To me, I rather see that America intended well, but the saboteurs who have connived with the enemies are thwarting that effort. So it is better that effort is removed, as Donald Trump has done. Rightly done, to me. At least we will know where we are. If we don't get aid from anywhere, the battle will be easier for our forces, military forces, to tackle. when there is, but it has its own side effect, which is painful, because our chief of defense staff said it's not all these NGOs that are wicked, that are supporting Boko Haram, and that some of them are doing so well as to aid the battle against Boko Haram. But the few of them, only one traitor is enough to destroy the good plans of the military. But that the ones among them, now that America has been linked, and thank God that Donald Trump is removing that obstacle, it will be painful, because a lot of people would have received help in times of turbulence will not be able to receive them. It's so sad. You see, there is no action you take in this world that does not have its advantages and disadvantages. It's a pity that millions of lives might be lost during the fact that, as a result of the fact that this kind of aid is not able to get across to them. That's, calls for a kind of sober reflection, because one would put himself in the position of these people. The help that would have come to you is not coming. You wouldn't have died if this help comes. You would have survived if this help had come. But unfortunately, because it is no longer coming, it is not story as usual. Then those who are also profiting from it, America is not profiting from it as a nation. They are only aiding us. But those who are profiting from it, like the corrupt officials, they too will lose that opportunity, which is on the good side. Because you cannot be feeding fat, at the detriment of other people. So it's neither here nor there. There will be the good side and the bad side of it. So the position we are now in Nigeria is that we should take both. And just like NSA chief said, Nigeria should fix our problem. So we should rise to the occasion now, make sure we get aid to those who are in suffering mode, and while we intensify the battle against Boko Haram. Whether people are still hiding under the fact that, okay, parents, whatever, is not credible, this and that, but the fact that it is a pointer to the fact that, we could do better, and we have opportunity to do better now, and bringing this war to an end. Now, this way, I say, Donald Trump's decisions will help to shape the world. In the first place, Nigeria, that will no longer be getting aid now, will either win or lose. And the option to lose is not an option, especially against Boko Haram and every other type of terrorism in Nigeria. It is the objective. It is not an option for Nigeria to lose against these people. So they have better opportunity now. Nigeria will now sit back and begin to address its own domestic problems. Thank God that no matter how much we criticize the current government, they have started. Any country that is dependent upon any other nation for survival is not a country. Any individual that is depending upon another people to survive is not a human being. What if that person dies? What if that person says no? Just like US now has withdrawn the aid to us. You know how much support that USAID or whatever they are giving to Nigeria, especially in the area of HIV, free treatment and all that. All the treatments that those who have HIV are receiving in Nigeria, they are as a result of the benevolent gestures of these countries that are helping us. Now that one is withdrawn, you know that Nigeria that is incapable of even feeding itself? Is it the one that will care for medical? That's where we are for now. May God help us. This is the opportunity for us to now go back to the drawing board and start solving our internal problems. America is doing all it's doing to make sure that it is in control of whatever is happening in the country. So Nigeria should be in control of every sector. Like I was saying before, it has started. With the refinery, even if there is monopoly, which I don't support anyway, take note, in Nigeria, in the petroleum sector, and if Dangote comes to monopolize, I would say that it is still more beneficial to us because he's employing masses of employees in Nigeria. But at the same time, thank God that Dangote is refining now, and not only that, to ensure that that monopoly does not arise. Warri Refinery, is it the one they say have started work, or Port Harcourt Refinery? And Kaduna Refinery is following. Then you have what you call the modular refineries that are being approved here and there, and those are already working. So I don't think this will give room to complete monopoly or manipulation by Dangote. So every human interaction has checks and balances. Nobody has absolute freedom. Even when it happened, I remember the antitrust case that Bill Gates was involved in. It came out to be that he broke the power of monopoly. So I expect that to also be happening here. No matter how much smart you are, something will corner you that will weaken your power. You see how much, when Dangote was coming, see how much the cabals resisted him. Today, he has championed the revolution that it can no longer be a business as usual. So as it is now, Nigeria is already on the right track. And the area of taxation that I'm told has gotten to the second reading now, that will soon become law in Nigeria. That's another giant stride to solving our problems within. Those who are embedded in corruption, that want to make sure that the nation does not rise at all, especially the rich that are making all the monies, and they are not even bothering about the soul of the nation. I think they too, they are into it now. So Nigeria is moving in the right direction. And we are also talking of something like agric sector, which the government is working assiduously, to revamp. If they are able to do this, we know that, Nigeria is heading towards solving our own problem. I know you will quickly ask me, but what about the kidnappings and also on that are still going on? I know it's a matter of time. Evil can never overcome good. I know that Nigeria shall be victorious over all these problems. And then the issue of student loan that we are talking about, of course, is another step in the right direction, because an average Nigerian will say, I am brilliant, but I don't have opportunity. That if such people have opportunity to take these loans before, they would have landed themselves in a place of comfort, but haven't been deprived. And I always use my own life as an example. If I had opportunity of a secondary school, if there is a student loan for secondary school during my time, I wouldn't have been looking up to somebody to sponsor me who are not there, or who are there, wanted to, but didn't have the capacity to do so, except that God himself intervened later, that he armed me with vision, which I derived from my mother. He armed me with determination to succeed, and I decided, having my God gidigba behind me to take the challenge upon myself to sponsor myself but through private studies before I could get myself to the official university system. You see, if I had that loan that time, people are criticizing the loan. I'm not. Yes, if you want to build yourself, if it is the loan that is available for you, do it, but be faithful in ensuring that you repay, knowing that fully well that it wouldn't have been better for you if you didn't have access to that loan. In this world, I've taken loans. In fact, if there is anything that God used to salvage my life for me, one major source is loan facility. Loan facility. There's nothing wrong in taking loan, but use it for a good purpose. I took loans in my offices in those days to sponsor myself. I took loans to marry. I took loans to build houses. My house. There was the first building I ever had in my life. It took me 17 years. Even with loans, it took me 17 years to complete a one-story building. Even with loans, so what if there is no loan? How much would I have saved from what I'm earning compared to the expenditures I'm expected to cover to survive in life? Loans have been very good. So we cannot be criticizing. Some people are saying make it a grant. Well, if you make it a grant, it means there is nothing coming back to the government. At a stage, we may end up, it may become a national cake. Even when it is a loan, people are not willing to pay back. Still have to pursue them. And if you want it to be well with you, should be able to contribute to something. If they give you a loan, make sure you pay it back so that it will be a recycling thing for those who will still benefit from it. So I see it as something that is in the right direction. So another effort towards self-sustenance. If we're able to solve the issue of our Greek and then food is sufficient, thank God now prices of food are coming down. Tomatoes that 4 used to be 1,000 naira. I think it's far better now. Yams that one tuber used to sell for as much as 10,000 naira. I think with 3,000-4,000 now you can buy a sizable portion of yam. And then every other thing that way. And on fuel prices, I think we're a bit stable now. And again, the dollar, the exchange rate is crashing no matter how little. So it's an indication that we are moving towards self-sufficiency. And at the same time, what is it called now? I've forgotten now. So, but at the same time, what I'm saying is that I think we are moving in the right direction. May not be as fast as we think because things have really gone bad. Putting an end to, reducing corruption to its barest minimum is the first goal that will make this nation self-sustaining. And I think we are in the right direction. Now, those of us who are japa, I know people will think twice now before they japa illegally. Take note. There's nothing wrong with japa illegally. I've always told my children those days when they are talking of japa, I say, look, the only thing I will never support in your quest is japa illegally. And it's now to tell us, those who did it and appear to be smart, you can now see what is happening to them. I don't want my own children to experience such. It is better we are here, still begging God and laboring hard to make sure that we get the right way than for them to how can somebody traveling on foot through Sahara Desert? And you get to the Mediterranean Sea or whatever, you are herded into the ships and so on, they're under dangerous conditions. All those efforts, all those risks, if you are taking them here by using your number 6 to think of what you can do. You may not, like somebody will say, I'm not full, I'm not empty. It is better to be in that position and then be looking for your ways out than to take such risks. You know how many lives have been lost to prostitution, to all these illegal migrations, now that are caught up. Many of them have spent several lives, several years enjoy. Now they are back to base suddenly, back to where, even minus where they were before they left. It is sad, but it's a lesson for the youths to ensure that whatever they want to do, youths are too desperate. They don't mind what happens. That's what is leading them to Yahoo Yahoo. It's leading them to many other things. May God help them. I know the government has not fared better, but if the government does not fare better, do whatever you can legitimately to get your life out of them and become what God wants you to become. But always remember, integrity is the key. So that Yoruba will say, if a lie travels for 20 years, just one day, the truth will meet up with it. Now, look at, you lie, you got to overseas, and now, several years after, when you thought you were settling, calamity befalls you again. Please, youths, let us think. Let us reason. Let us reason. We are not wild animals. We are civilized beings. How come that we prefer to jump the gun, thinking that we are smart? Now, if the youth will not learn from this to ensure that they japa legally, then anybody who is caught in the web of the immigration disaster later, it is because maybe there are some Bible. Christ says, no one perishes except children of perdition. Maybe they are children of perdition. So let us, you see, I'm still going to do a talk on life is a race. Run your own to the finish line. It is true that life is a competition. You see, if you don't want to be left behind, you have to manage the project of your life such that you finish well. So, if you don't do it, by the time everybody has left you behind, you will regret. So, the same thing with a nation. If a nation does not plan for itself, then that nation is doomed. And those of us who are giving birth to children indiscriminately, you are the greatest enemies of this nation. You are the greatest enemies of your children that you are bringing forth, that you have capacity to cater for. Nobody says don't have the number of children you have, but make sure you don't heap their problems upon uncles, brothers, and so on, upon larger family members, upon the government. If you can't feed two children, have one and take adequate care of them, and life will be better for everybody. So we are the root cause of all the corruptions that are going on in the world. Do you know that having children more than you can cater for is corruption? Having more wives than you can cater for is corruption? And by the time you can't feed them, you begin to play politics around them. And what is even more, you expect them to be feeding you or to be taking care. They are all corruptions. We need to be careful. So like I said, what I see from what is happening, look at now. America is pulling out of World Health Organization. We don't know what they will do with the UN yet, because America can't do anything, because they would rather protect themselves than to consider the world at large at the detriment of their own. I don't blame them. And this is how every human being should do. This is not being selfish. If you don't survive, you cannot keep another person afloat. Survive first, then render help. And such people that you are rendering help to must be willing to help themselves. So what will come out of this Americans, Donald Trump is that by the time it's true, the whole world will no longer remain the same. The signals have been sent, and only those who will learn will profit from it. Learn to be somebody who plans his or her life, not somebody. Learn to work towards being independent instead of being dependent upon people till your dying day. Learn to be somebody who is a giver rather than receiver. Always. There's limit to which help can take you. Tap into the help, be on your own, and begin to help others. That's the order of life. Anything short of it, you're in trouble. Nigeria itself will, in fact, the next thing I want government to do is control our birth rate. We'll still be beating about the bush if we don't control the population, so that at least we can plan and move forward. I hope I've said something. God bless you. Nigeria will no longer remain the same by the time Trump is over. Every other nation in the world will no longer remain. Everybody will look inwards, and they will look for how to have self-sufficiency. I expect every Japaists to think twice and will not go there again illegally, so that when they get there, they will have peace. America is still protecting those who came in legally and are behaving and conforming to the laws of the land. So it's a lesson for us. Let me stop here. Please share this video, subscribe to our channel, pass your comments, send the notification button, press the notification button so that I get to know when we upload new videos. Please like our videos. God bless you. I'm your friend, Yemi Omogboyega. Have a wonderful day. Bye.